Okay, we ready to call the meeting to order? First thing is the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag
of the
United States of America, and to the republic
for which it
stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Okie dokie. Okay, the item number 2, approval of last month's meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
This is Jack Stone. I move approval.
Do I have a second?
Charlene Lebo, I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. And then we'll go into the traffic surveys.
Do you want me to read these, or do you want to read them, Joe?
I could try, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Traffic survey. Survey number 1, location 185 Thorpe Street. Nature of request, tabled from 10/14/20. Request for a complete administrative decision review. Proposed living residential development, 185 Thorpe Street. By whom? Michael Galante. Recommendation, no issue. Request developer to monitor the number of handicap spaces for future needs. Do we have a motion to accept that?
Joe, Jack Stone.
Yeah.
Before you just go for a motion, I just make a point that Mr. Galante has gotten back to us and said there will be 10 handicap parking spots provided. So that fills that question mark for us.
They could add more if they needed them, right? Or they don't know.
That's questionable, but right now there were none showing before. Now there are 10.
That's good.
And so at least we've got that base covered.
That's good.
Can I just put my 2 cents in? Can you hear me?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I went on the survey with Jack. I'm Commissioner Stone, and I think the chief had told me that the 200 out of all the parking spots, they can add as many handicap spots as they want. So going forward, if they find a need to have more handicap, they can do that. So the minimum is 10, but they can put 25 handicap there. So it's up to the developer if there's a need. So if the average age is 70 and they decide that they want to put in, 35 more handicap, they can do that. They don't need approval. It's private property.
Okay.
Is that right, Chief? Chief Liddy?
That is correct. Right. Like any HOA association, if the need increases, they can increase the number without coming before the board.
Chief.
Charlene Lebo here. That was my biggest concern and my question, so I feel good about it. Go ahead, Jack. I'm sorry.
That's all right, Chief. Just a question on that. To add more spaces, will they have adequate space and still be able to maintain the minimum number of parking spaces required? Because each handicap spot is going to take a little more space than a standard spot.
That is true. And I am not sure what the minimum number.
Well, Chief, it's Jamie Millington. I deal with this all the time up at the Cinto Towers in Sheldon. The minimum number of parking spaces is set by zoning. There's also a minimum number of handicap spaces, but they can transition themselves a regular parking spot to a handicap parking spot because it doesn't decrease the total number of spaces for the complex for parking. They do it under Americans with Disability Act to accommodate.
Perfect. Thank you.
I got one other thought. So there's 230 spots right now, including the 10 handicap. But I think I'm sure I talked to the chief of Commissioner Stone, but the way those apartments are set up, it's very unusual for the average age of 70 to have 2 cars per unit. So I'm assuming that they're going to have, most people only have 1 car. So that'd be plenty of spaces left over for visitors and to expand the handicap. That's just my thought.
Well, and it's Jamie Millington again, just to go into it, the number of parking spaces required and the nature of those is under the zoning commission approval. I think what we're looking at is traffic. So, I mean, I think they already addressed this at zoning, and the commission's approval has to deal with the traffic, I believe, if something's changed.
But I don't know. It sounds reasonable to me.
I think Mr. Galante might be on the line, and he might have some specific requirements. I think he's looking for an overall police commission approval of the totality of the project, and requesting a letter from us stating that.
Well, we prepared to do that now? Or do we need any further investigation?
From the police perspective, and I don't know if Chris Tercy is on the line, he might want to weigh in, but I think that we've looked at the potential traffic flow, and given prior use of the facility, don't think it's going to be an incredible generator as compared to when it was Fairfield Lumber. Maybe the hours of operation are a little bit different, but when it was a lumber yard, the truck traffic was a lot greater than I think what we'll have now.
I am on, Chief. We didn't, from the police perspective, we did not feel there was any additional burden. And then when we went out there with the commissioners, they just asked us to monitor, or the developer monitor the handicap, even though we're looking at traffic. It was just a simple side concern. So what Mr. Galante said was he's requesting a simple letter as the legal traffic authority to submit to OSTA and CDOT, saying that the town is basically okay with it, and he will put a request in writing to monitor future parking spaces. It will basically address both concerns. But from a traffic perspective, the police department has no issue.
Okay.
Thanks, Captain.
I would, it's Jamie Millington, again, unless anybody has anything else, I'd make the motion to approve the request for a complete administrative review decision.
Joe,
right,
Jack.
I'll second that.
Mr. Jack Stone, I'll second.
Okay, all approved? Do we have a motion?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
objections? No objections, the motion passes. Okay, let's move on to traffic survey number 2. Henry Street at between Mill Plain Road and Dunley Road. Nature of request add slow children sign, paint white stop sign lines on the street, and create a new 4-way stop sign. By whom? Mr. Kevin Harrigan. Recommendation: approve 4-way stop sign. 2 stop signs on Dunley Road with no painted lines on the street. Have a discussion?
Jack Stone, Joe, I'll comment on that. The town engineer pointed out to us it's very unusual for the 2 stop signs to be on the cross street of the busiest street. In other words, Henry comes in from Mill Plain Road, and that has the stop sign, where Dunley, when it crosses, is just fair game. So he supported making it a 4-way stop and said no white lines on the street.
Okay, and you comfortable with that? I mean, everybody feels it's okay?
Yep, I'm good with it.
Yeah, one of the stop signs is it's like 3 houses on the road, so I mean I have no issue with that. The residents
Yeah,
don't
it makes sense.
Do we have a motion to approve it?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Charlene Lebo, I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Survey location, Stilson Road. Nature of request to add a crosswalk across Stilson Road from Denise Terrace to Osborne School entrance by Angelo Papa George, Fairfield Public School. Recommendation: denied. Any discussion?
Commissioners, we've got Angelus Papa George here in the conference room with us.
Okay.
So I'll go over to him to make any comments he'd like.
Sure. Please step up to the mic
everyone.
or whatever you do.
I don't know if I can be heard, I'm assuming. So,
Yes.
All right. So the principal at the Osborne Hill Elementary School has asked me to look into this and make this request. The concern is the morning drop-off and the afternoon pickup. The parents park and on Denise Drive there and walk across to the driveway, and they also do it in the afternoon as well. We also get commuters who are walking from that area, crossing over the road there. We were hoping to get some type of either crosswalk or identification signs, maybe blinking light type thing, to identify that there are people crossing there during certain times of the day. So that's why the original request was for a crosswalk to be put in there. I know it doesn't conform, but we were hoping maybe to do something with a crosswalk and maybe identify it as a school crosswalk during school hours only type of setup.
Okay. Any comments from the police department?
Joe, Jack Stone.
Oh, go ahead, Jack.
When we looked at this, our main concern and consideration was, it's not something that can be approved. And if you walk about 25 or 30 yards up the street, you have an intersection with crosswalks, traffic lights, and a crossing guard. And so therefore we felt that it was unnecessary, and it's a dangerous road to just cross by itself. And you have a light at the intersection of Stilson and North Benson as well. So we couldn't even put a traffic light in.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you've done your homework. Is there further discussion from the public?
Well, Joe, it's Jamie Millington. I agree with Jack. When we went over this, when there was the request on Umpqua Road for those crosswalks where there was no light, we did the same thing. It's just, especially, and this is probably equally as dangerous of a road, so it's probably safer to cross with a light and at school times with a crossing guard, and to have two crossing guards within a matter of 100 yards of each other doesn't make much sense either as far as traffic flow.
Right. So any further discussion from the public?
It's Charlene Lee. Can we have a comment from the police department at all? Maybe Captain
From the police perspective, unfortunately, we have to. My recommendation is to go against the Board of Ed's request on this one.
Okay.
Where it's an extremely busy street, there's a traffic light on either end, so you're basically putting a crosswalk midstream at speeds. And if you walk 25 yards to the northeast, there is not only a crosswalk with crossing guards assigned there, there's also a traffic light and an electronic crosswalk itself. So I would not want to encourage parents or children to give them a false sense of security to cross in a much more dangerous position. And besides that, even with the approval of the police commission, I do not think it would pass the state anyway, since it's a state road.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Any further discussion from the public? No, then we have a motion.
Joe, it's Jack Stone. I'll make a motion to deny.
Charlene Lebo, I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All opposed? All right, motion passes. Now we're going to read this epistle, which is Survey 4, location Mill Hill Road. Nature of request. Request a traffic study on how to improve visibility, add pedestrian walkway, or slow down the cars by adding to be able to see oncoming traffic and pedestrians. Dangerous sharp curve on Mill Hill Road. Vehicles approaching from each direction have no visibility until they are almost going to pass each other. The road is narrow at the bend, and on each side there is a rock formation and plant life that protrudes into the street, causing most to live in the middle of the lane. There is no sidewalk for pedestrians. Therefore, if two vehicles are passing at once, they must jump onto the landscape. People are often traveling at much higher speeds than the speed limit. At the curve, there is a turn into Waterville Road. This is our only way in and out. The poor visibility and no pedestrian lanes is a scar for both, whatever that means, a scar for both drivers and pedestrians. It is seriously dangerous for those who are walking with young children in a stroller. By whom? Ann Farrington. Recommendation: approve add pedestrian sign W11-1 on Mill Hill Road, both north and south of Waterville Road. Replace curb sign with 2 curb intersection signs with W-1-10 right-left curve, both north and south of Waterville Road. Any comment on this? No.
Well, Joe, I just say that I would support the enhancements. I know the area well, and it is, unless you're going to start digging out on either side of the road and potentially, blasting to get some rock out of there, it's a tough spot. So we got to do the best we can with the signage.
Okay.
But, it's a start, and then see how it goes.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Charlene Lebo, I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Old business, there's none. New business, there's none.
Mr. Chairman, under new business, can I make a motion that we add the donations that were sent to us via email for acceptance?
Yes, certainly.
So we'll need a second for that.
Second.
I'll second, whatever. Second.
All approve?
Aye.
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 Any objections? No, motion passes. Now, we'll go to the...
Mr. Chairman, we're going to have to read those donations, and I can't seem to get them up on my phone.
I have them in front of me if you want me to read them.
Yeah, would you, Chris? That'd be great.
Sure. A $25 gift card from Phil Spalla for Stop and Shop. A $132 check from Trinity Episcopal Church in Southport. A $25 check from Jerome and Bernadette Shaffiello of Deepwood Drive in Easton, and a $100 check from Jacqueline Picarolo from Sturgis Road in Fairfield. And that's all.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve those donations.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any opposed? The motion passes. And now I guess we'll go to the monthly report.
And I hope you've all received a copy of it. Pretty much a status quo from last month, but we'd be happy to entertain any specific questions if you have any.
I'm good.
I don't have any.
Great.
I guess we have none. I guess you guys are doing a great job as usual.
Joe, Jack Stone.
Yeah, Jack.
I would make a motion to approve the report.
Okay, a second.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes. Now I make a motion. I don't know how we do this, Jamie, whether you do it or not, but we need to go into private executive session.
I'll make a motion that we go into a private executive session.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, everyone was notified. The public is back in and the recording is back on. And I see the secretary and others
Jamie's
are
back.
in the room.
Jamie's back.
Okay.
Are we
We're back
ready?
We're in public session now.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, but first I'd like to just say something in advance of it. You know, this year we've been, on the police commission and involved in our community for many years, and we have never seen a year quite like this one with the challenges that we faced as a nation and specifically as a community. The demands were incredible on the police department. They were new and they required swift and immediate action. A lot of additional hours were spent, especially by the command staff, in coming up with creative solutions to handle something that we never anticipated and have never seen in our lives. With that said, I think the chief and the entire command staff, but led by the chief, brought us through this to this point seamlessly and put a massive amount of effort into it. A ton of hours has been available 24 hours to take our phone calls and everybody else's. He suffered a very serious injury that would have kept most normal people out of work for quite a long time. And he was back within a matter of a couple of weeks and never stopped working from home when all that was happening. So with that said, I would like to make a motion that we give the chief a 2% pay increase retroactive to July 1st of 2020.
I will second that, and I will second all of your comments, Jamie.
Very nicely said. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes.
Yep. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much, Commissioners. Appreciate it.
Is there anything else to discuss? Do we want to discuss, or should we move to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, just one other thing. The next meeting is scheduled for December 9th. I am going to be in Africa from November 30th to December 15th. I'm really looking forward to the flight, and I hope to God we can get back in the country. But,
you'll be able to hook up.
That's a pretty exciting thing to look forward to.
Yeah,
Too.
yeah. Landing on a cargo plane somewhere and trying to get back here. But so I'm just not going to be able to make the December 9th meeting. I know in the past that we've canceled our December meetings in lieu of a holiday party, which obviously we can't have this year. So I don't mind if you go forward without me, but somebody would just have to act as the secretary.
It'll be very tough for me if you're not here. But
Jamie, we may have a Zoom meeting in December, so you'll be able to connect.
Oh, that's great.
I'll be back after December 15th. But
notice he's ignoring that comment.
Yeah.
God. Well, I can try to Zoom in from Africa.
That'll be
there may be some animals in the background and
yeah.
James.
Have a great trip, Jamie.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a
So
motion.
moved.
And second?
Second.
Somebody's. Okay. And any all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? No. I guess the meeting's adjourned. This was